Hello everyone, welcome to General Orlando 327 Plays Final Fantasy XIII, Episode 5. We are just about at the end of Chapter 3. We're going to finish it here in a couple minutes. But before we do that, there's going to be just a little bit of grinding. Not enough to make it its own video. In fact, the first time around, it won't even really be grinding. It would be just showing you the enemies in this area. Let me just see how many loops I need to do here real quick. Usually I just have to do 3 loops and then we're done. I just want to make sure that that's still about right. Maybe less than that if I'm lucky. So there's no point in doing intensive grinding in this game at any particular spot for the majority of the storyline till about chapter 11. Just because the game is designed so that you fill out each expansion of the Crystarium basically in the time that it takes to get the next one. As long as you're fighting all the battles and doing all of the optional fights that you can do, then it's going to pretty much take care of itself. Yeah, we may only need to do this once or maybe even twice, but usually the one that's a little bit behind is going to be Saz. He's only got one. Yeah, it might actually only take one time around, so maybe there won't be any true grinding. Anyway, the grinding here is very, very brief. Otherwise, I wouldn't show it on camera. But the first time around, we have to do anyway to collect loot and stuff, so... Really, Lightning? You had to miss?
I'm tougher than you thought, huh?
So, there's actually a shortcut here next to the save point that we finished off at last time that you can just go up here and hit the X key to go through this little shortcut and you'll end up on the other side. If I bring up the map, you'll see that there's a little, basically it's going to end up being a little loop around here. And you could just skip it and go right through, but this is the best place to get those extra little bit of CP before you end this chapter to finish off your Crystarium. And there's one particular treasure in here that we are definitely going to want to get anyway. So, and of course, it's about halfway around. I mean, you know, it'd be too easy if it was... you know, right at the end or right at the beginning. So this is our second of the general type humans. And again, it's fairly simple. Which it needs to be for what we have available to us right now, but... This one is a little bit more difficult than the first one that we fought with just Lightning and Saz, but I mean, you know, we have more tools at our disposal at this point, so that's not really all that surprising. But now that we've got him staggered, it's going to be over in a hurry. If we actually... actually, I should fix LeBron. Stop that. Why is my controller input lagging? I don't like that. Okay, so now if we look at him, we can see that he has both physical and magic damage. That's what those bottom two vulnerabilities are on the right-hand side. So regardless of whether he's staggered or not, he still takes less damage than the majority of the enemies that we fought so far. And that's true of most of this class of enemy. They usually have high damage reduction and a fairly high stagger point. It's going to be higher than the majority of human enemies that we fight. this is the treasure sphere that we definitely wanted to get. This nugget of Millerite, or Millerite, I guess it is. This and other minerals like it are going to be crucial in upgrading equipment later. So. Alright, so that's one loop around. To go back through, all we have to do is go in between the pillars here, and then right back up here, and this is the same pile of debris that we had on the other side. So if I pull up the map, you can see right where that save point was that we started at. Let me just check and see how many, how far we are from maxing this out. I don't think we have quite enough to do it. We have to do at least one more time around. Let's see. Yeah, one more time, I'll do it for her. Each loop around. Okay, my controller's being laggy. I'm gonna switch controllers. Hang on just 1 second, everybody. I'm sorry. Not 3. 1. There we go. I don't know why I have a controller that the buttons seem to start to be giving out on me, but apparently I do. Alright. Sorry about that brief distraction there, folks. Alright, moving on. So I know one more will do it. You get 108 CP per loop. So if we're lucky, we might only need to do one more. She needs a little bit more. This is done. How many? 108. Yeah, that'll be enough. Okay. Yeah, so we'll only have to do one more loop. So, like I said, it's not going to take too much longer than it would have otherwise. You saw how quickly that loop was, and that's counting 2 trips to the Crystarium to level up. So, and a swap of controllers. This is really the only tedious battle in the loop, and it's only because of the big guy. So there's a little trick that you can do with paradigm shifts. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the first time we do a paradigm shift, it takes a really long time because they have to do the cool animation of, you're doing a paradigm shift in this battle, which is kind of a nuisance. But after that, anytime you allow 2 full rounds in a paradigm and then switch to the next paradigm that you want to use, it automatically fills your ATB bar. So what you want to do then is allow 2 full rounds, and then when you've set up the second round for your party members, then queue up the bring up the prompt to select the paradigm, and then just hold out until your party member has done all of the attacks for that round. And then as soon as you switch again, which is considerably shorter, because it's just the little color animations around each character, instead of the titles telling you what they switched to and that kind of thing, then it will automatically have full ATB bars for all of your characters, and you can immediately launch into another attack. So that's one of the advanced strategies of this game. Some bosses, I don't really do it, because, like I say, I don't really care about speed on battles. But for the people that actually care about that, that's not what I wanted to attack. What is going on with my inputs today? It's not reading it the first time I press the button, and then it reads it twice the next time. Well, whatever. So, for people who are actually like speedrunning this game, which I have tried to do once, this is the only game that I have ever attempted to speedrun. And I got quite a ways before I finally decided that it wasn't worth the pain of trying to do high-level bosses at very underdeveloped party levels. But for people who do speedruns, one of the strategies is actually to put an extra set of whichever paradigm you're going to be using the most, so that you can take advantage of that little ATB charge trick. Because otherwise, if you don't allow, like if you switch to a paradigm, use 1 round or a couple of rounds, which is common when you're using healing paradigms, or if you're just trying to push up the chain gauge and you want to switch back to something with a commando to kind of stabilize it from dropping quickly, then you may only go for like a couple of, or for like 1 round or something, and then switch back to whatever you were using. And if you do that, then when you switch paradigms, you're still at the same point in charging the ATB bar as you would have been if you had just continued acting. So there's that few seconds difference between being able to utilize the trick and when you don't do it. So if you have Relentless Assault is one of the common, attacking paradigms. It's the one that we have right now with 1 Commando and 2 Ravagers. And a lot of times for speed runs in boss fights, they'll put 2 copies of that paradigm in their paradigm deck, so that when they so that they can utilize that little trick and shave. You're talking about a boss fight, you're talking about potentially saving, up to a minute of combat, sometimes longer, but generally about a minute. I didn't get the treasure that was up there. The whole point of going up there was to get that treasure. I always do that. I kill those enemies and then forget that the reason I went up there was to get the treasure. Oh, yeah, it's fine. I'll do it here in just a second. Kill Saz, I don't care. As you play this game longer and longer, not only do you get a pretty decent feel of when it's okay to let a party member die, but you also get a feel of the programming that the enemies have. I had a pretty good idea there that the enemy was going to change targets before it actually finished off Saz. If it had been Vanille, I probably would have had to heal just for the sake of just to be safe, because she's the only healer I have in the party without using potions. But with Saz, I didn't really care if he died, and I had a general feeling that they were probably going to switch targets before they finished him off. Just because of the way that they're typically programmed. That's how much I played this game. Alright, that was, I think... Yes. Alright, so there's a save point up here. Get the treasure here. And along the other side. Go back to the Crystarium, finish off our Crystarium levels for this expansion. You were already done. Wait, didn't you have more to do? I thought you had one more. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, that's better. So there's a little handy thing, if you haven't noticed it, down in the bottom left-hand corner of this screen, it tells you, or mid-left-hand side of the screen, I guess, it tells you how many crystals they have in that role and how many of them they've gained. So in this case, Hope has gotten all of the ones from this role as far as it's been unlocked. So, saves us a little bit of time. Okay, this is doing the same thing. Wonder if I'm gonna have to reboot my system after this video, I guess. Hopefully not before. Oh, before I do that, I have some setup to do. Come on. Go. Set up an extra healing paradigm here. Equip her with the spark ring that we just picked up at the end of the last video. And I think that's all we need. So we're going to go forward.
Stay close.
I want to look around.
What part of stay close do you not understand?
Vanille.
Hey, look, there was a reason she said to stay close.
Over here.
Obviously, this is a boss fight. That's why I set up for a boss fight. We're going to start by throwing Libra at it so our Ravagers know what elements to use. So in this case, the only weakness is to arrow. A-E-R-O, not A-R-R-O-W, because we don't have anybody that uses arrows. Which would be kind of cool, you know. My favorite comic book hero is Green Arrow, but hey, that would be so cool. Now that Square has the rights to Marvel video games, maybe they can do a Final Fantasy Marvel crossover. That'd be cool. Okay, moving on. Anyway, so one of the first things you're always going to want to do with boss fights is to cast Libra on them, just so that your casters know. At this point, it doesn't matter too much because we don't have too many options available to a couple of our casters, but at least then they know exactly which
last moments.
which elements to use. It can also be beneficial later in the game when we have the Saboteur role, which I absolutely love and probably overuse. What am I doing here? I don't think there's anything important to do. Yeah, we're just going to do the same thing. So he starts out with a barrier in this round, which means... So when we had the human enemy earlier that had the bottom two vulnerabilities as being halved, so when it says resistant, that means that they only take 1/10 normal damage from those types. So so now he's gone from just normal vulnerabilities and being weak against air to taking even his vulnerability to air. He's still taking 1/10 of the increased damage from his weakness. So that's why the second form is a little bit more powerful, although we're developed to the point where it doesn't matter. If you had rushed through this chapter, you could have real trouble with this boss. Or if you didn't know to throw a spark ring on lightning. But, you know, I've played this a few times. Oh, you know what? So there's another little trick here. So you know how normally it does that huge long little mini cutscene when you change paradigms for the first time in combat? Well, if you have your leader up in the air, typically it's easiest to do with lightning. If you have them up in the air, then they are going to, then that little cutscene, it ignores it. It also works for any paradigm shift. The paradigm shift is immediate if you happen to have your leader off the ground at the time. So that's another little trick to planning out your strategies for long fights. Alright. So, when I was talking about the Saboteur roll, we now have the Sab roll for Vanille, which makes her one of my favorite characters in the game,
Check it out.
from a gameplay perspective.
Come on, hop to it. Let's go.
This'll make things easier.
Yeah, knowing our luck, it's probably missing an engine.
You shouldn't be so negative.
And you shouldn't get your hopes up.
Forever the realist, that says. sure. Okay, so that's last time save, which means we need to save it in that slot. Just in case something happens during this stream and I want to start it over again. Although I don't expect that to happen, but... Although if my controller keeps giving me difficulties... Hey, look, it's snow again. Well, that doesn't look good.
Sweeping to base. The C spot. I repeat, the C spot. Pulse the C. Confirmed.
How did they confirm that from that angle? His brand's on the opposite side.
Commencing cleanup protocol.
Cleanup. Let me help.
So yeah, this looks fun. So there's a little key to this battle besides knowing what's going to come up next. That these rangers go down after 2 punches. So you don't want to let your bar charge the entire way. You'd rather just get those 2 punches in and then expedite the attack so that you don't have to waste time switching targets. I miscalculated that one. I thought I could do it. Alright. And you're always going to have to throw a potion in this battle. I don't think it's possible to... I mean, I have his Crystarium maxed out to the point that he's at right now, and I don't think there's any possible way to win that battle without using a potion. It's not like the first battle with Lightning has against the Warmack that's choreographed so that you can't lose the fight as long as you keep attacking.
What's he doing? Watch yourself! Stay alert!
So this is the first one of these encounters that we get during the game. Somehow we summoned these guys, and we don't need a tutorial for that. Libra. No, not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And that, please. Alright. So anyway, somehow we summoned these guys, and now we've got to defeat them with a Doom timer running. And for those of you who are not familiar with this franchise, Doom is the spell that once the timer wears out, it's immediate death for the party member inflicted by it. So so the key to these battles is that in order to beat them, you have to fill that little gestalt bar above their head. And if you fail, then if you either die or run out of time, which is really the more usual threat to these guys, is running out of time before you would actually die from their attacks. Especially in this battle where one of the enemies is actually healing you. But the key to it is you have to basically make use of the innate ability of the party member who summoned them in order to win the battle before the Doom timer round runs out. Generally, it's going to be whatever their natural tendency as a party role would be. So, like, the reason I'm using Steel Guard so much is because the easiest way to charge... this is Shiva, by the way. To charge Shiva's gauge is to... that's a problem. Good, we got it. Alright. So then once it's full, that little Gestalt mode thing comes up on the side, and you've won the battle. But the best way to fill Shiva's gauge is by defending against their pirouette and field grind attacks. Because Snow is primarily a sentinel. That's his main role in the party. So performing that role is the best way to charge that gauge for his they're called Eidolons in this game, but they're summons in other games basically.
The twin sisters. I gotta hand it to you for taking them down, but don't gloat just yet. Might come a time you wish you'd let them end it and made things easy.
So if you were paying attention earlier on, she should look a little bit familiar to you from probably video either 1 or 2. I'm not sure which. I think 2.
Back off.
She is actually present in the first flashback scene that we had.
Come quiet.
The bar that Snow goes into in the flashback, where the bro is serving drinks, the girl that you had in his little mini team back in the first chapter. That woman in this cutscene was sitting at the bar, and the bro has a line asking her, "Now, who was it you were looking for?" Same person.
Sarah! Shut it.
Stand down.
You two? And why are you helping them?
If I were you, I'd worry about myself.
This is a real cool cutscene. I personally very much enjoy this cutscene, or this sequence of cutscenes, really.
Give me that! What? Did we get him?
We got one of them.
They're still behind us!
Stop that! Hey! I said stop! You wanna die?
How are you gonna lose them?
You got me, kid.
Then let me!
No, thank you.
You know that sense of scale I was talking about in the first video? You ain't seen nothing
They're
yet.
still on us? We're taking hits. Come on, give me a break. Hang on.
Although I've never understood why video games like this forget about the fact that flying is three-dimensional. Like, why didn't those ships just go up above and wait for them to come out?
Oh, that's good.
Next, an update on the status of the Purge. Just moments ago, the Sanctum announced the successful conclusion of the Purge, along with the safe arrival of the Cocoon migrants to their new homes on Earth.
Uh-huh. Typical government lies.
Yes, that is correct. There's no denying the enormity of the strain the Purge placed on us all. But given the tens of millions of lives at stake, there truly was no alternative.
Primarch Daisley stood by the move, stressing the necessity of the relocation. When asked about the possibility of future purges, the Primarch remained non-committal, stating only that he would seek counsel with the Fal'Cie Eden and weigh all options before making a decision.
Yeah, that's right. If it makes the Sanctum look bad, it never even happened.
In all the centuries since the War of Transgression, Cocoon has been spared pulse aggression and prospered for it. It is essential that we maintain this peace. That is the Sanctum's focus. We will continue employing every resource available to combat these threats to the harmony of our society.
Meaning, we'll be running for the rest of our lives.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
who is this guy?
I mean, what do they teach kids these days? He is gallant Daisley.
See? Says the king of the one-liners.
Murderer-in-chief.
According to our Insta
Just
poll,
another
nearly
tool
90%
of
of
the
Cocoon
Fal'Cie.
citizens agree with the Sanctum's handling of the Purge. 70% of respondents said they would also support additional purges were the need to arise.
And typical public,
Everybody. That'll
completely oblivious and they want to stay that way.
Hey. Points for perseverance. A Sanctum Fal'Cie up close and personal. Cocoon's own light in the sky. Here we go again.
Fly in. We'll lose him in there.
I like this Fal'Cie.
There's more of them!
So this cutscene, or these last couple of cutscenes, gives you a clue as to a little bit of Saz's background without ever bothering to actually have to state it, that somehow he's a really good pilot. And now we're in chapter 4.
Hey.
Hey, wake up! You gotta wake up! Look!
Hey, slow down! Gotta keep you kids safe, right?
Not that Lightning really needs their help at this point. She could take out this entire group in like 4 blitz attacks.
Glad that's over.
Man, I'm beat. What? No break?
They're tracking us.
I know that, but we aren't soldiers. We don't have your kind of stamina.
You got enough to complain.
Oh, that's... Forget it!
I think,
I'd stick with her if I were you.
later then.
Come on, let's get going.
Get going to where, exactly? The whole of Cocoon's against us. No matter how far we run, there's no escape. That Seath clock, it's still a ticket.
There's still time. You give up too easy, old man.
I'm not giving up. There's some things that you just can't change. A kid like you would not understand.
Yeah, I'm a kid. I don't understand.
Well, I guess we can be fugitives together. Oh. You ready?
Ready!
Hey.
So that cutscene right there basically, and the majority of this chapter, basically sets up for the next like 4.5 chapters. Where you have a split party. Well, guess we're not following Lightning and Hope, because, you know, Hope broke the world. I climbed up on that thing.
But at least it's not the end of the line.
So now we're back to that flashback night. Like I said, we're gonna see this night from a few different angles.
The big one's coming.
Whoa, they didn't disappoint this year.
You look dreamy, Farron. Wishing on fireworks, were you? And you call yourself a soldier? Ah,
Sorry, Lieutenant. But I really don't think guard duty is my calling, sir.
well, lucky for you, your shift just ended. Pack it up and go home.
But, sir,
SciComm found something in the vestige nearby. They don't want the Guardian Corps here stepping on their toes. I'm sure you heard about the accident at the Uriday Gorge energy plant, and how it has the SciComm lads in a tizzy.
yeah. More incident than accident. Something pulse-related.
You're taking tomorrow off?
Sir, for my birthday, sir. My sister, she insisted on it.
21, huh? Maybe it's a good time to send off that letter of recommendation for officer training.
Lieutenant.
You're past due for a promotion, Farron. Think of your sister and your future, and keep your nose out of trouble.
Out of SciComm business, you mean?
Yeah. Nothing good will come of it. Nothing but grief. Whoa, look at that one! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
How right you were, Lieutenant. Just you?
For now, I guess. Should we wait?
They'll catch up, eventually.
So now we know that on that night, Snow was there and his little ragtag team. Obviously, Sarah was there. Lightning and Vanille were both there. And the mysterious woman who just apprehended Snow was also there. Anybody want to guess whether or not Saz and Hope were there? How much time do we have on this video? Okay, so I'm going to end this video a little bit early today, and I will show you why here momentarily. This is one of, like we did very early on, I think video 2, with trying to get some extra Fortisols for the rest of the game. This is the battle that you would farm to do to get Aegisols. And again, we only need about 5 of them. But the Aegisols are much harder to get drop than the Fortisols were. So I'm not gonna, I'm gonna sit here and do it, but I'm not gonna do it on camera because there's no point in you guys watching me do the same fight over and over again. Especially since it's a little bit aggravating to get the fight to respawn. If you're doing a speed run, you can just use the save point here, save, and then go back into the reload, and it'll be there again. But you can actually get it to respawn. I actually need to set up my paradigms differently though. We are going to put that there. Rav goes to the bottom. Med goes there. We want that to be our default paradigm. And then we need Ravs in here. Okay, so if you're gonna do if you're gonna farm for the Aegisols here, which I highly recommend that you do. Like I say, all you really need is about 5, and it'll get you through all the way to the last chapter of the game, when you can actually buy them finally. So what you want to do is set up in the paradigm that I have here, Yin and Yang, where light is a... Okay, my controller's being screwy again. Light is a Ravager, and Hope is a Medic. And the reason you want to do that is because, unlike at the beginning of the game with the Fortisol drop, the Aegisol, at this point in the game, for any of the shrouds like that, Fortisol, Aegisol, Deceptisol, Ethersol, the likelihood of you getting that drop increases the lower your the number of stars for the battle is. So what you really want to do to maximize your chance of getting Aegisols here is to actually get a 0-star battle. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to show you generally how to get the thing to respawn. The first time you fight it, if you go about this far down, you can actually see at the bottom left-hand corner of the of the mini map, you can see both the little faded red thing where we actually fought the monster at, and then now it has another bright red dot there because it's respawned. The first time you do it, it usually is about that easy. After that, it takes some more finagling in order to get it to respawn, and I will show you that. I'm going to fight this battle again so you can see how I do it. Basically, what you want to do is actually just spam thunder spells. And with Hope set up as a Ravager, he's only going to heal you. So he's not going to be doing any damage to the thing, obviously slowing down your battle time, which is what determines, at this point anyway, which is what determines your the number of stars that you get in combat. It's a comparison of the battle time and the expected battle time based on your level and equipment and etc. It's a fairly complicated formula that that I'm not going to get into at this point. We might talk about it when I start doing some of the optional grinding stuff in Chapter 11, or I might just save it for post-game play. But this way, you're doing decent amounts of damage. Hope will always keep you healed up, since all he's doing is queuing up cure spells. And then just waiting to cast them until he knows. So I got a 0 rating here. It's still not a guaranteed drop to get an Aegisol. We actually got one this time. But that's what you're looking for, Aegisols. And again, you want to get about 5 of them, and then you'll be set for the rest of the game. If you're not confident in your skills, then get a couple more. But you really don't need more than... you don't need... at absolute masks more than about 7 or 8 of them. You're going to get another one here in a sphere, and treasure sphere, in the same area, the same chapter, and then you're going to find a few more throughout the playthrough. So to respawn it again, so you can see again on the mini map here, that little red dot where we just were is the fight that we just had. It always indicates where your last fight was on the map. So what we want to do is just kind of go down this path. And the first time, it actually just spawned it again very easily. You can kind of see there where it's kind of a bigger dot there and brighter because it just respawned the monster again. Sometimes, in order to get it to respawn, you have to kind of go all the way back to the start of where you came from and then come back up here to the entrance area to this little kidney-shaped area, and then go back down to the same place that we were to respawn it. Sometimes you have to do that 2 or 3 times before it actually successfully respawns. So again, it's if you're doing a speedrun, it's going to generally be faster to save and reload, since you're going to be doing it anyway. If you don't get the Aegisol, you're going to be reloading the last save in order to save on the time for the battle, or total time elapsed. But in this case, we're just gonna... but I prefer to not have to go through the super long load screen if I don't have to. If I can make it respawn manually, I prefer to do it that way, even if it's a little bit more of a hassle. So I'm going to finish this battle, and then I'm going to go to the save point, and I'm going to call it an episode, and then I'm going to spend a little bit of time getting the Aegisols that we need, so that for the next episode we don't have to sit here and do this. You're welcome. That's the worst attack you're going to see from this thing, by the way. Once it's got that little icon above its head is the bravery icon. What it is it boosts the attack rating to 1.5 times the actual stat. So, it's very useful ability when we get it later on down the road. But it all it does is increase your physical attacks, basically. Or anything that uses your attack stat. So I'm going to save it here. And that time we didn't get an Aegisol, even though I got a 0-star thing. I've found that typically you get them every 3 to 5 battles when you have 0 stars from this monster. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time to get to get 5 Aegisols, and you're racking up a small amount of CP every time, so it saves time grinding for CP later. So it's worth doing. And like I say, the Aegisols will come in very handy in certain fights down the road. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button and share it with your friends. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much.